I know it.
Were you impressed with my swing feel?
Yeah, always. Hey guys, welcome to That Pelter Show. VCQ, Dan here.
Mick here, hello. I think it was the Sweeney, but it could have been.
Oh, yeah, right.
It could easily have been CACGAE and Lacey. Or something like that. Magnum, we should get into Magnum as well.
Man.
Anyway, Tom Selleck. Now there's a moustache.
He did have, still has a magnificent soup strainer.
And Ferrari 348 GTS or GTB, never sure which was which.
Right.
With the, it was like, was it a Targa or was it a straight convertible? Maybe a Targa. Such a cool car.
It's impressive that you know that.
Yeah. Anyway. Welcome to VCQ.
Yeah, welcome.
If we seem a bit subdued, it's because it's like 5 to 9 on a Monday AM, which isn't early for a lot of people, but it is.
When you get here at 7 to start set things up.
Yeah, I was running at 7 AM this morning, Dan.
Were you?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, good on you. That's great.
I've started running to help my brain.
I was driving at 7 AM this morning.
Yeah.
And was having decaf coffee to help my brain.
Nice.
Debatable.
Yeah. I've got 2 beverages this morning, a green tea and a full fat coffee.
Oh, very good. Leaded. Okay, big video on Friday. We had the incredible Mr. John Smith on the show.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
It's what's been really interesting about that video is the comments have been overwhelmingly in shock and awe of the talent of the man. Yeah, but it's, it's certainly
low views by TPS standards.
Yeah,
because people see an acoustic guitar, click, don't watch that.
There you
go. My exasperation explodes at that point. But let's not dwell on the negative, Dan. Let's dwell on the positive. As Steve J says, hello Steve. He says beards. That's where I'm going wrong. Josh Smith, beard. Has Josh got a beard? He's in and out of beard, isn't he?
You think Josh Scott? No, Josh Smith has a magnificent beard. John Smith. He's thinking John Smith. He's got this wrong.
No. He says Josh Smith, beard. Joey Landreth, beard. John Smith, beard. That's what my playing is missing. I think Josh might be in and out of beards.
Okay.
You're confused?
I am.
Josh Smith, amazing 13s, telly playing.
Oh, yeah, but he's not. Is he beard?
He's in and out of beard, I think. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, all right.
So what we're saying there, Steve, is you don't necessarily need a beard. Michael Landau doesn't have a beard. This could literally go on forever.
Okay. Andrew Hoodie. He says, wow, what a ridiculously talented man. Does Simon have any other friends we should know about? He actually does.
He does.
In many
it's best not to dig into Simon's connections. We leave it alone. Don't talk about it until he's ready to talk about it.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah. Keep the women and children safe. Yeah. Anyway, so we had an immense amount of love for John. It was striking.
Yeah.
It was a striking video. Literally endless comments saying what an incredible breath of fresh air it was.
I just want to say Andrew Hoodie, I believe this is my niece's husband.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'd heard that he watched the show. I think that's the first time he's commented. Anyway.
I like the way that if it is that Andrew Hood, because he's Australian, he's immediately Hoodie.
Has to be Hoodie.
What about Hoodo? Would that work or not really?
Hoodo. No, it's Hoodie.
Yeah.
It has to be Hoodie. Yes.
Yeah, and what was really nice is as a predominantly gear-focused channel, it seemed that most of you connected with John's connection through music. It wasn't necessarily about the gear, although there will be some questions which we'll come on to. And
well, I have to admit, when I did the board, because I didn't know who he was, and we're busy, and I don't get as much time to listen to as much music as I'd like to.
It's not always possible, is it?
It's not always possible.
Yeah, especially when you've got 8 other things on that week and it's the date is approaching. It's, oh, God, I really need to do some research.
Yep. So anyway, did the board and everything, and then he started playing, and I was just like, I was so floored. And like so many other people, immediately went out, bought every album I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
And it's been on high rotation ever since. And, you know.
That was great. So many people, including some of these, I can't mention everybody, but Harazo, Tokar 6301, Michael Shiner, Bradley Saunders, Matthias Nielsen, Barrios, Gus Woe, Eddie Ferrick, EG Systems, JD Default, I presume that means Jack Daniels Default, which is pretty cool. Daniel Moore, among very many others, were just saying how amazing John was. And a lot of you went out and bought his music, which is really, really great because, need we say it, you know, artists can't eat nice comments.
Yeah. But
they can eat money that they turn into food. Right?
Very true. Very true.
But I think Hulk Slayer, hello, says he needs surgery to reattach his jaw.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Exactly my reaction. But I think Ryan Murphy sums it up, who said, so moving and inspiring. How is John Smith not a household name?
That's interesting, isn't it?
He's on cans in many, many households in the UK.
Right.
You're not familiar with John Smith's beer? Among the most famous British beers.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty
Very
dreadful.
Good.
And of course he was
I thought you meant he's on cans, you know.
Oh yeah, he is that too. He was a Labour politician as well, John Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, he was I think he was either was or was going to be Prime Minister, and then he carked it.
He was also one of the guys at Mission Control.
Was he?
No.
I bet there are lots of John Smiths out there. Anyway, yes, why isn't John more known? Well, hopefully we can help that a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
For the same reason that all the other amazingly brilliant artists out there aren't well known.
Yeah.
Because, you know... Anyway, I'm not even going to get into it.
Okay, Gary Steed says, sometimes you hear something and it makes you reevaluate what you've been doing with your life. Perfect.
Interesting, because I think both you and I, given that we hang around people like John quite a lot, it is a bizarre mix of dispiriting and motivating, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you can choose which way you go.
Oh, I like that, Dan.
I'm choosing to be inspired by it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because we're all just ourselves at the end of the day,
Yep.
and there's no point trying to be anybody else. So
I get it though. I get looking at someone like that going, oh, and then you somehow you think it reflects on what you haven't done.
Yeah.
But no, you can choose to go, no, this is incredible. Like I spent the weekend with Phil X.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, here we go. And we should give Josh Smith and
Joey Landreth. Yeah.
And who else? That's it so far.
That's it so far. Actually, there's been a few. But anyway.
Honorary honk for everyone we mentioned so far.
Landau, for example.
Landau.
Yeah. So hang out with Phil X, who's over here with Bon Jovi. You know.
Yeah. Just hanging out at Wembley like you do.
Yeah. So I was literally hanging out with him at Wembley, backstage with his rig. We filmed with him in his suite at the Savoy, right?
That's what I love about those mega bands. I remember going to meet Peter Stroud once, and he was at the Dorchester. And it's like those mega bands, like your Sheryl Crows and your Bon Jovis and your Claptons, and they don't stay in the Travelodge, do they?
No.
They stay in the Savoy, in the Dorchester.
It's amazing.
And they all travel with their families, right?
Yeah. So
quite often.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Bon Jovi 30 years ago. In 88 or 89.
Wow.
And he was, anyway. So he's there doing his thing with Bon Jovi. And we filmed in his suite, and he's, for this vlog thing that I'm doing. And I'm talking to him about attitude, and how because what he does is so authentic. And he starts pulling out these things. And what he can do is he can go from nothing, just talking about, 15 minutes talking, and then you go like this. And there's no warm up, no leaning into it. It's just bang.
That's tour fit, isn't it?
It is incredible.
That's what tour fit means.
Yeah. And I do, and I sit there going, man, you know, and I thought I can choose to be depressed by this.
Yeah.
But I thought no, and I went home and worked on my bouzouki licks because that's where he got a lot of his right hand technique from.
No way.
Because he used to play bouzouki. Anyway, sorry, that massive tangent.
I think it's good to reflect that there is a difference between us and artists.
Sure.
You know, here we are, enthusiasts. We like playing. We play a bit, but we have jobs. We work.
Yeah.
Artists, different level.
Yeah,
totally different level. And if you ever get it confused, I think it's dangerous. Anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Harry Burke says, can you ask John where he gets his boots from? And maybe also how to grow such thick facial hair?
Yes, the facial hair, unfortunately, is genetic. There's not much you can do about that. The boots are Joseph Cheaney and Sons.
Right, there you go. Interestingly, not everyone got it.
No. John OB23. I had to check that this comment was genuine.
Right.
He said, a £3,700 guitar, you could buy a car for that. I don't care how great it sounds. That is insane. And I thought, is he genuine? And I think Peter Jessup went back to him and said, well, no, come on, it's what you do. But he was genuinely of the opinion that a £4,000 guitar is totally ridiculous.
It's interesting. Do you remember when you were a student and there was no money and you'd look at, you know, I remember looking at really nice gear and thinking, how on earth does anyone afford anything like that? But then I started looking at, when I started studying, I was studying with classical musicians.
Right. I'm glad you mentioned that.
And it was a $30,000 violin.
Take a mortgage.
Was a big, like almost beginners.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, if that's what you do.
Yeah.
Tools are important.
From a straight value for money point of view, £4,000 guitar today, it's probably going to be worth roughly that in 25 years' time. I mean, if you take into account inflation and all the rest of it, you know, obviously you've lost money over time. But your analogy of a car, oh man, cars are the biggest waste of money in the world. You buy a car, you drive it for 5 years, and then it's worth a third of what you pay for it. And sure, a car might be important to you because it helps you get to your place of work, but you know, an instrument, I think they're cheap. I think guitars are cheap for what you get.
Yeah.
I really do, the amount of man hours that go into it. But anyway, blah, blah,
and that's what you're paying for, isn't it? You're paying for...
It's what matters to you, isn't it, as well? I know people that spend loads of money on golf clubs or cars for that matter, and they derive a huge amount of pleasure for it. And if you don't get that sense of value back, then sure, it is insane. But if you care about it...
Oh, yeah.
It's not insane at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
Now, there are a lot of nice comments about the sound and mixing too. Mick has done the questions for today. But I'm not going to gloss over this because the sound... So Mick did the audio for the show and mixed the songs, and you did the most incredible job. So hats off, chapeau to you, sir.
Thank you.
It was absolutely incredible. As voiced by Bishu Bayushi, and many others. But you did the most incredible job with
Thank
the
you.
sound.
I'm smiling, and I'm going to take the pat on the back for what it's worth because I was impressed.
Good.
With that work. However, it comes with a caveat, and the caveat is it's really easy when the source material is so good.
Sure. Yeah,
but there's a question about it. Josh Marstoller says, what is the blend of pickups and mics we're hearing on the last song? The tone seems too good to be from any guitar pickup so good. Okay, it was quite a complex setup, and that's one of the reasons I was so pleased that it worked. So starting from the guitar, you've got a mic on the guitar, and that was here, and there was a mic just above his head which was capturing the vocals. We'll explain the signal chain in a minute, but half of the acoustic guitar pickup went off to an AER Compact 60, and you're hearing bizarrely, and I mic'd that, and I took a DI. So you've got a mic and a DI and a mic on the amp, and you're probably hearing most of the DI, would you believe? The mic on the amp was so that's right down there. The mic on the guitar is just putting some of the air back into it. So you're hearing a mix of that. You're also hearing then the electric guitar pickup goes off to the Fender Super Reverb that we had set up.
Via the pedal board.
So that was mic'd. And in addition, we had our mid-side room mics on. So it's a mix of all of that, all of those sources. His voice, mic on the guitar, and 2 guitar amps. Oh, and the bass amp.
What was the mic for his voice?
Neumann TLM 102.
Okay.
Down there.
Right.
They're those just great multi-purpose large diaphragm condenser. It's the cheapest Neumann large diaphragm condenser there is, but it's excellent and it's very easy to manage. So yeah, that was the mix. Quite complex. And then on top of that, you've got, I think I ran it through UA's New Century channel strip as a Unison plugin on the Universal Audio interface, which has gain, makeup, compression, and a bit of EQ. And because John has such a wide range of dynamic in his voice, I was basically riding the compressor and the gain as he was recording.
Oh, wow.
Just because I just wanted to make sure the quiet bits could be heard, and I didn't want it to sound over compressed.
Sure.
Because I think that can sound weird. So it was just riding the gain a bit on his voice as he was singing.
It's very good, mate.
I was pleased.
Honestly.
And I tell you,
Really, it was amazing.
Whether it's this, I think this is true for lots of people, but whether it's writing, whether it's playing the guitar, whether it's photography, whether it's doing video, whether it's mixing sound, there was just something about that day where I think we were all in the moment.
And
there was no real thought.
No,
it was just happening, and it was the moment, and we were in it, and it was a bunch of magic stuff that happened. So yeah, thank you for the kind words, but really, it's John.
Sure. Got an awesome question from Phil H27, who is awesome, by the way. Dan occasionally overuses the word awesome on TPS, but that really was an awesome episode. One important question. What were all the labels inside John's cases? I'm sure the answer is dull, but I need to know.
Passes.
Parts from festivals and things.
So if you've ever been to a festival or a backstage somewhere or a gig, you get usually a laminate pass that you stick on yourself somewhere. And I think they were key ones that are important to him. Actually, I want to add to the last question. Simon did an epic job on the edit, by the way.
Oh yeah,
it was an unusual edit for TPS with the narrative and the way that it flowed. And as usual, Simon did an epic job on that. So we should mention that.
We should. I think because he's been with us for so long, I tend to think taken for granted is the wrong word, but I'm always grateful for the work he's done, but he's there.
Yeah.
I'm just expecting it to be awesome now, and sometimes I forget.
He's like your car, isn't he? He's like 100 years of amazing innovation and technology.
Yeah.
And you hammer around corners at 60 miles an hour and slam the brakes on, and it just works. And that's Simon.
Yeah, that's Simon. Yeah, he's amazing.
He is amazing. So we're lucky to have him.
That was awesome.
Awesome. Completely awesome. Yeah, they're laminates for passes and stuff.
Scott W, was he still in DADGAD when playing Winter?
I don't know. A lot of people have asked about tuning. So while you read out the next question, I'm going to text him.
Oh, okay, cool. Right.
Sorry, John.
Revenant 235 and Scott W and Jonathan Persch also asking for tuning info. Right.
Yes. What were the tunings of the...
Oh, we can FaceTime him.
No, I don't want to wake him up because he's just got back off tour. Of the 3 songs...
9:10.
But... Oh, I don't want to...
Okay. You're so kind.
Sorry, John. What were the tunings of the 3 songs? Thanks. If he replies before the end of this video, we'll reveal them. If not, I'll put them in the description.
Okay, right, below.
He has, however, bless him, last night sent me a picture of the circuit diagram, which we'll get onto in a moment.
Okay, cool.
The signal diagram.
Okay, that answers that question.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was Scott W, Revenant 235, Scott W, and Scott W, and Jonathan Persch.
Great.
Did you say that already?
I did.
I'm sorry, Dad.
Greg Adler, can you guys please show a signal path? All right, we're doing that. That's on the way.
I will. That'll be on the screen kind of nowish. You can pause. I won't leave it up for too long. Mark Ruark also asked for that, and I think Greg Adler asked some more questions.
Okay. Does he use the blue sky and Flint reverbs at the same time, or is he only using the Flint's tremolo? I think they're actually in different signal paths, aren't they? Those two.
The Flint is definitely used for harmonic tremolo.
Yeah.
Yes. So the blue sky is on the signal path that's attached to the Lely switcher and the guitar's acoustic guitar pickup. The Flint is in the signal path that comes off the electric guitar pickup.
Yeah, or the Diamond pickup.
Yeah.
Dan, you mentioned that the octave goes to its own output. How can one output go to another output on the same pedal? I'm wondering what I'm missing here. So John uses the AC3. And what happens is the AC3 is very clever. It has two outputs. One is a normal through output, and one is the effect out. The AC3, it gives an octave, but you can tell it how, like it. You can tell it that I only want the effect to happen up to the note A or something. So it automatically registers that, if you're playing, an E and a G and an A, it will just take the bass notes, create an octave, and then send it out of that effect output. And that's what's hitting the bass amp.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is just passing through.
The signal path diagram that's on screen will explain this. I didn't realize this. So straight out of the guitar,
It hits the AC3.
You've got a stereo out of the guitar, and one of those, the mic part of that guitar pickup. So just to confirm that, John's acoustic guitar pickup has two elements. It has an undersaddle piezo, piezo or piezo, depending on where you come from, and it has a microphone internally. The microphone goes to the Raven preamp, but the piezo goes straight to the OC3 and straight to the bass amp. So the only thing the piezo is doing, the only thing at all that the piezo is doing, is going to the OC3.
But no, it comes back out of the OC3 and then back into the other side of the preamp.
So it does.
Yeah.
So it does.
But he uses the piezo as opposed to the mic, so that the attack and everything, it hits the OC3 and it tracks a lot better than the mic.
Even though it doesn't track brilliantly, as I discovered in the audio edit. John, we need to find you an octaver that tracks better. Anyway.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Hopefully that explains that.
Okay.
This is also from Greg Adler. I noticed that John had a Zoomer power supply.
Right.
With an OGI extension
Ouija.
at the beginning. Ouija, OG, whatever. But it got stripped out and replaced with the gig rig generator, distributors and isolators. That's a lot of coin to replace a high-end power system for another. What was going on, Dan?
The Strymon stuff is great. It was a space issue more than anything. And John wanted to reconfigure everything. So yeah, we just found that we could get more.
And he's too polite to say, but even though you call it a high-end system, all those things are compromised. All the one-box systems are always compromised in some way, shape, down. Whether it's isolation, whether it's the right combination of voltage and current. Somewhere there is a compromise in those systems.
Yeah, but the Strymon stuff is very good. The Strymon stuff is very good. Yeah. Patrick Carroll says, why have a preamp in addition to the Lale DI switcher?
Hopefully the circuit diagram explains that.
Yeah.
The reason is...
Well, it's a specific... that acoustic preamp, it's specifically a preamp that John likes, and the switcher just routes the signal.
Yeah.
But
so the Raven is about sound and the Lely is about splitting.
Yeah, exactly. About function.
Yeah.
Steve Como?
Well, we've probably had this before because Steve comments a lot. Steve Como?
Okay.
Como?
Let's go with Como.
Or Como?
Como? And then you can correct us, Steve.
Yeah.
I see John uses an AER amp. You use an AER amp as well, don't you? I've got an old AER Compact 60 and I'm wondering why some pedals don't work well in the effects loop. E.g. Moore Trellicopter, MXR Phase 100. Seems like I can't get enough input signal from the send to the output of the pedals. Any thoughts? You said the FX return is minus 10 dB. Yeah.
It's line level.
So, yeah.
Well, it's consumer line level.
Yeah. And also those, the Trellicopter and Phase 100, they're not designed for line level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always confused by this because apparently professional line level is +4.
Right.
And consumer line level is -10.
Okay.
So I don't understand that. Someone can write it in, or you can just copy and paste the Wikipedia pages that I read. If you want those pedals to work in that loop, add some sort of booster or buffer.
Sure.
So you get more signal. Basically, they don't have the strength to be heard in the loop.
Sure.
Because I'm not sure. There is an effects mix. I think there's an effects mix control on the Compact 60. Could be wrong. I use it all the time. I should know. But I never use the loop. Just use it in the front. I mean, it's got a massive high headroom preamp.
Yeah.
Just use it in the front. Don't bother with the effects loop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, is what I would say.
Absolutely.
Bradley Saunders, my first time ever commenting on a YouTube post.
Hey!
Awesome! I like that. But I had to say how much I enjoyed this week's episode. I've watched it no less than 3 times already. One gear-related question. How is he getting the chorus-like tone at the end of Joanna? Is it the El Capistan? Thanks, and please don't wait too long before tracking down him for video number 2. It's harmonic tremolo.
Mm-hmm.
There's no chorus going on. Not even any natural chorusing because there might be some in the delay, but it's harmonic tremolo from the Flint.
Because you get a mix of that harmonic tremolo in parallel with the direct signal of the guitar, and that modulation when you mix it with a parallel, you know, that's what you get. It's like you wouldn't call it a chorusing effect, but it's that same thing. It's that movement next to the solid signal.
It's such a great sound.
It's
harmonic
awesome.
And
it's so awesome.
It's even better when it's wet dry.
Yep. Adam Miller says, wow, I need to know more about John Smith now. Also, one other thing, gold top PRS of P90s, and he goes on to repeat that 5 times.
And Jet AV8. Oh, I see. Probably a pilot. Or a fan of jets.
Right.
Or
fan of AVs.
A seller of private jets.
Yes, 8 of them.
Yeah. I don't want to take away from the focus of the video, but when are we going to hear that gold top PRS with P90s? Jay Collins said that too. That gold top PRS with P90s has appeared in one TPS video. I've had it for a long time, and we picked it up and put it down instantly. Something is really wrong with that guitar, and I haven't had the time to work out what. It just sounds so dead.
Very
so
dark,
I don't know whether it's got a wiring fault or something. Anyway, I ordered some Lola P90s to put in it and a new wiring harness because I'm just not really into fault finding. I'd rather start from the beginning and know that it's going to be great. Acoustically, it's great. It's a really nice sounding and playing guitar.
Yeah,
so there's no reason why it should sound as bad as it does. So hopefully I'll give that some time and get that guitar up and running again.
JH, where are you finding the big button one on the Strymon? I'm looking for this accessory, please. Barefoot, I think they're called.
Yeah.
The big barefoot stomp things.
It's basically it was a thing, wasn't it, a couple of years ago, where everyone was doing them, and you just stick them on top of the switch, and it just makes the top of the switch a bit bigger.
Yeah.
You just do a search online. I mean, barefoot effects.
I think.
Or barefoot.
Something like that.
There was somebody doing that, and then obviously 58,000 million Chinese companies do cheap knockoffs of them. So, looking at you, maybe Gibson should do some. Oh dear.
Switch authentic. Angus Morrison says it's not really a pedalboard build unless Dan makes someone tug on his Evidence Audio SIS cable.
In brackets, not a euphemism.
There was a meme that wasn't there on the weekend. So of me holding the cable that says, seriously, tug my cable.
For anyone who doesn't know, the Evidence Audio SIS is screw-in solderless, so the core of the signal wire screws into the end of the jack plug, so you can't pull it off. It's a great connection.
It is.
And that's exciting.
Right, Mr. Truth of Guitar says, Mick, when you have a tune in a minor key and resolve to a major...
I'm going to give a musical accompaniment to this.
Okay, great. When you have a tune in a minor key, the saddest of all keys, and then you resolve to a major, it's called a Picardy third.
Nice.
Hares on the Mountain is so beautiful. Wonderful singing and playing, a real talent. Then Elephant Buddy says the same thing, pointing out that there's one at the end of Avengers Infinity War. I did not know that.
Yeah, there you go.
Amazing.
Yeah. So they
Jean-Luc Picard III.
nice.
Awesome.
So they spent 300 million on CGI and 10p on the soundtrack. Did they? Is that how that went? Robert Downey Jr. turns up and goes,
"My lovely horse."
Literally 3 minutes of acting, $300 million of CGI. There's your Avengers film.
Awesome.
Oh man,
I really liked the Avengers film. I thought it was wonderful. Very touching.
I'm not even going to go there. It's digital modelling, isn't it? Is what it is. It's like I want to see analog acting.
Yeah,
with analog humans
you
doing
imagine
analog things.
Thanos in analog. Yeah. Anyway,
give me Charlie Chaplin. Don't give me Charlie Chaplin. Right, let's move on to some more general stuff. By the way, I did mention I had a little dig at Gibson earlier. I shout out to Mark Agnesi, who's taken a lot of heat this week because Gibson put out a video about trademark copyright infringement. I didn't actually see it, but I can kind of guess what they're talking about. Keep it authentic. I felt a bit for Gibson and for Mark actually.
right.
Because if you own something, you want to protect it.
Yep.
So let's say you write a song, you watching this, write a song, and then somebody takes it and they use it for commercial gain and they make a lot of money. Do you feel bad about that? I would feel bad about that.
Sure.
Now, Gibson and Fender's problem is they haven't protected their trademarks.
Yep.
Over years and years and years. Gibson successfully sued Ibanez in the 70s, and then that's what stopped Ibanez making just straight Gibson copies, and that's when they went off into things like the Roadsters, and which eventually turned into things like the Gem, and so it was good for Ibanez. It enabled them to go off and do something original. But yeah, I don't know. I'm conflicted about that whole thing about whether you should protect your trademarks. If it's your trademark and you own it, then you should protect it.
Sure.
However, 60 years of guitar innovation, 58 million copies, and fundamentally misunderstanding how your customers feel about it.
Yeah.
It is a PR own goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
really.
Yeah, Gibson. You know what? I'll be honest, Dan. I didn't want to play my 335 after I saw that.
Okay.
I was like, do you know what? You're a bloody corporation.
Sure.
And you're a corporation who doesn't care about musicians.
I felt sorry for Mark because he's done some great videos.
I love Mark.
And the what's that music store?
He's ace. Norman's Rare Guitars.
Norman's Rare Guitars. And he's done some brilliant videos, but that's the one that he's going to be remembered for.
Well, I hope not. I too have been the mouth of a corporation. And let me tell you, there's a bunch of people in suits who care about one thing and one thing only, the amount of money they're paying their shareholders.
I did a gig for I won't say the company, but it was a car company.
Was it Lada?
No, it wasn't Lada. But anyway, and the kind of like a boutique car building company.
Oh.
And all the workers and everything invited to this Christmas do. And they started doing the toasts, and then everyone stood up and says, okay, the most important toast of the evening to the shareholders. And so all the guys were out there, 6 days a week, just slogging it out, building these cars, toasting to the shareholders. And I thought, there you go.
No, it's anyway, I'm sure there'll be a lot of
shares
opinions.
available in TPS coming soon.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of comment and opinion on Gibson and all of that. And to be fair, I didn't see the video, but I've worked in the guitar industry for nearly 25 years now, and I've seen many, many, many lawsuits and examined them, and I know what's involved in those things. So
tricky stuff.
It is tricky stuff. It is tricky stuff. But as you say, PR own goal in a massive way. Yep. They misunderstood their audience by some considerable margin.
Which is interesting because I love the guitars they've brought out. Yeah. They've re-released some classics, and actually talking to some guys over this on the weekend at the Bon Jovi gig, and loving the re-released the juniors, and and it's like,
the SGs look fantastic.
So
I really want
cool.
Them. Let's give Mark Agnesi a honk for being such a dude. Yeah, maybe we'll see him back on this side one day.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, some more general stuff. We should probably hurry up. Dan has got to go. In a recent episode, Mick noted in passing that guitar players are so focused on recreating the past, yes we are, that few new sounds are coming forth and capturing the wider public's interest. in a week when Gibson is threatening to and actually suing guitar manufacturers over their legacy, we see David Gilmour's Mongrel Strat selling for nearly 4 million at auction.
Oh, did you see that?
I did.
Oh my word!
I was kind of like, yeah. But any antique, anything of collectability, you know, that guitar's value is nothing to do with the guitar. It's to do with the fact that it's his.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, I totally get it. You know, you
of course.
buy Tiger Woods. Why am I keep talking about golf? Is the guitar becoming swallowed by its own history?
Oh, there's a question.
Yeah, I mean, we can't possibly answer that, but we'll get into it a bit. So while I love that oldie pedal show, I have to admit that every iconic guitar moment in guitar music I treasure was a moment where the gear or guitar being used was beyond the contemporary expectations or conventions, i.e. Clapton over-amplifying his Les Paul.
Yep.
Townsend, Hendrix, Beck embracing feedback, and Page going straight to the desk for Black Dog. The Edge subordinating finger gymnastics to delay manipulations. This is nice. This is like a book.
Yeah.
The list goes on. What do you think? Is there an episode here?
You made a really interesting point to me years ago about the cover of Guitarist magazine and how you could have the most amazing new players and everything on the cover. But it was, you know, it was the Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, David Gilmour covers were still always the ones that sold.
The two best-selling issues of Guitarist of all time were Jimmy Page.
Wow.
Yeah. And closely followed by Clapton, Gilmour, Hendrix. And then kind of falls away after that.
John Frusciante?
No, nowhere.
Wow.
Yep.
One of the things with, you know, because we get to see a lot of the new technology and that coming through,
let me qualify that. Frusciante on the cover of Total Guitar, good seller.
Right, okay.
So it does reflect the audience.
Sure. Yeah. There you go. See, I get, you know, I love getting these pedals that come through and they sound amazing and they, you know, you play one note and it just goes crazy and goes off into this. They're wonderful, but I'm yet to hear music created with those sorts of sounds that inspire me. You know, not that there isn't, but you know, we're so influenced by the stuff that we grew up listening to, and breaking away from that is hard. And it's also the people who are in charge of selling this music and getting it on the radio and that sort of stuff. It's less of a gamble.
It wasn't just music, was it? It was culture.
Right.
It defined culture.
Yes.
And it was, you know, the music from the 50s, 60s, and 70s defined popular culture.
Yep.
And we didn't have a fragmented popular culture environment that we have now with the internet and everything, because there was a funnel from producers of media straight to consumers, and there wasn't this, you know, now there's a market of one, back then there was markets of millions. Plus, I would say that there is an immense amount of extremely creative new music being made.
Yeah.
An immense amount of it. It's all out there, and pretty much all of it's on iTunes. And if it's not on iTunes, it's probably available via bands' direct websites and things like that. But trying to get people interested in it is really
tricky.
Is really tough. And finally, I would say that let's take the violin. There are people doing things with the violin that are new and different.
Sure.
You know, Nigel Kennedy doing the Jimi Hendrix and putting it through a wah and all the rest of it. That's a very blunt example of how somebody did something new. And I would imagine there are people doing amazing things with the violin, the fiddle, that are extremely creative. But I don't think the violin ever got any better than a Stradivari.
Sure.
In a really decent orchestra.
Yeah.
Playing an amazing symphony.
Sure. I mean, look, I'm sat here holding this.
Yeah. So to answer your question, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the guitar as we know it has had its day. And it is now a heritage pursuit, which I'm quite happy with because I'm old and I don't want anything else. But go and talk to someone like Revere or any of the Periphery guys or anyone who's 20 years younger than that with their fanfare 8-string, crazy signal path. You know, it's a whole different world. My point is it has evolved.
So good.
Could we do an episode on it? I'm not sure. I'm not creative enough. to be able to consider what hasn't been created yet.
There's interesting questions there, you know. Anyway,
you want to move on, don't you, Dan?
I do.
You uncomfortable?
No, it's
I'm
good.
digging a hole?
No. It's all good. It's all good. Right, Carl says, would you guys consider doing a budget version of really sweet boards like those of Andy Timmons, Josh Smith, Joey Landreth, Ariel Posen, and Chris Buck? Funny enough, building a rig with Chris Buck tomorrow, whether that's here or elsewhere, but the only day Chris has to do anything for a while is tomorrow.
Okay.
So anyway,
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's exciting.
Yes.
Budget versions. Should we do it? Dan and I never want the point to be about the price, which will sound utterly bonkers to most people, because obviously most people are constrained by price. While you think about a more eloquent answer, Dan, I've always thought, rather than try and do this whole thing on a budget, don't do the whole thing. Just do the one thing that you care about most to the best of your
I love that.
financial wherewithal.
Yep.
Because then what happens is, as time goes on, you add to that, and you can trade and you can do whatever you want, so that it becomes something really, really great, rather than just buying a load of cheap stuff, which might be cool. And for sure, Dan and I have our fair share of cheap pedals. But the danger is they just get put on a shelf and they never get used again. And the resale value on stuff like that is just so hopeless.
Sure.
However, if you look at our views on that pedal show compared to bigger channels who focus entirely on price, we're nowhere, are we?
No,
I mean, we're just this tiny corner of the guitar world. You know, you're talking hundreds of thousands, millions of views.
Our audience is just becoming more selective.
But it's a reflection of us. It's a reflection of what feels authentic for us to do. So will we do budget versions?
It's
got to be authentic.
It has to be authentic. And the thing is, with these guys, they have spent, you know, the gear they've chosen, that's a culmination of a lifetime of experience to hone it down to like, well, this is giving me exactly what I need. Then to be able to take that and say, well, this might do the same thing.
It's a lie.
It
reminds me of all the magazine covers we wrote, and you'd write the cover, and the publisher would come along and say, oh, you need to sell this a bit more. So you'd end up just lying on the cover lines.
Yeah. If you understand the concepts of these things, and then you can make these choices on your own, you know, as long as you understand the thought process that goes into saying, well, this is what I'm connecting with, and therefore music is flowing. Yeah. It's about that.
Yeah.
You know, you can do that. You can absolutely do that with inexpensive gear.
I think the ultimate truth is as well, if you took any one of those guys' decent boards and you replaced it all with Moa or Joyo or Tone City, you'd be 85% of the way there, probably.
Sure.
I mean, you'd need a really, really great power supply, and you probably need some kind of switcher, which adds a load of money. But you'd be most of the way there. So I don't know if we really need to prove that.
Yeah.
And
also these things.
Yeah, you need a bit of that as well. Anyway, sorry, that was probably a way longer answer.
Jeremiah McCann says, would you gentlemen consider doing an episode on your... I'm just checking my new glasses.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed. Would you gentlemen... Yeah. Would you gentlemen consider doing an episode on your pre-sound check, during sound check rituals to get your tone and gain staging right? Interesting. Exercise your hands, new strings right before ? Leave the amp on during the opener ? Maybe even some pointers to be more professional. Don't noodle during vocal mic check, etc. I think these would help the younger players to feel more empowered with that kind of information. Interesting.
I think these are all things that you stress about when you're first getting into all this stuff. So I think we could do something on that.
Yeah. Look, I love the idea of some tips for being professional.
Yeah.
You know, because there's nothing worse going to see a band. Thank you very much. And there are, you know, tuning and you know, there are some really simple things that you can do.
Yeah. Being more professional is always a good thing. Tone and gain staging. Well, I've been doing it for 30 years now, and I still can't get it right. So
it's a journey.
It is a journey. But I think it's a great idea for a video. We should talk about that.
I don't like the last comment. I don't see that in any way.
John Kirk says, think about who he's looking at. He's not looking at you.
No, I know, but I still don't think there's, you know.
The pudgy guy on the left, that's me. Looks like a young Donald Trump.
I don't like it. There was a couple of other. There was a better one. There was a guy that commented and said, he said, "Come on, guys! It was 20 minutes into this video before I got to see a pedal board."
Into the John Smith video.
To the John Smith video.
Bless him.
Are these videos? Are we going to have music now in every video? And you answered like, brilliant. It's like, let's start a support group, or let's start a pressure group. Musicians Against Music.
Musicians Against Music. Bless it. He did come back and say, "Look, I wasn't being a total dick. I was just saying that I expect a certain thing from that pedal show, and when that's upset, it kind of throws me off a bit." So
it's like when we're sitting on the wrong side.
Yeah, relax. Come on. Nobody's died, right? It's just music, and it's fun, and it's hanging out. So just everyone's kind of a bit like.
Everyone's like that at the moment,
and I just think we should all chill out. There are more things that bind us together than split us apart. So
that's lovely.
Everyone chill, and if someone plays you a nice song, I think you all owe it to yourselves. We all owe it to ourselves to just go, do you know what? I've got 3 minutes for this.
Yeah, so true.
For this song, whatever is going to happen, unless you've got to take your kids to school or, something that, then don't be watching a YouTube video is all I'm saying about that. Anyway.
Very true. Listen, I also want to say thank you to everyone that follows us on Instagram. I had a massive brain fail on the weekend and thought that I had lost Red, and
I'm texting him going, "It's in the boot of your car."
It was terrifying. So yes, thank you to everyone that supported me through that moment, which has led me to ask some other questions about my own,
which we'll all get into. And finally, John Smith has replied, and he said, "Hares on the Mountain is DADGAD. Winter is CACGAE, and Joanna is DADGBE."
Wow.
So those are those tunings. I'll put them on screen for you, and also in the description.
Wasn't that one of the reasons that Joni Mitchell didn't tour a lot? Because she had like 30 different tunings. And anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Have a fantastic week. Don't forget, in the comment section below is descriptions and links to stuff, links to our preferred retailers. Thank you to everyone that's gone to that pedalshowstore.com, all that stuff. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.